So let's be honest with each other. Are we gamblers or are we investors? I have to admit that if I see something that shows up and it looks like I can make a fast buck on it, I'll jump in and I'll put some money into it. But I know how much I'm willing to risk and how much I'm willing to lose. It's not a matter of risk, it's a matter of willing to lose. And I just encourage you that if you're going to play that game and if you're going to invest in Kodak or Nikola or Boeing or Carnival Cruise Lines, you need to look at that money and say there is a substantial potential that I'm going to lose that money and deal with it. Otherwise, stay away from it. The other thing is, if you're going to go into it, know what you're buying. Kodak, I really identify with that because I told you I used to work for Polaroid, and Kodak was our number one competition, and I knew a lot about the company. In fact, I've been to their plant. I've been to George Eastman's home in Rochester, New York, because I really admired the company. But the fact is, they didn't do so well. So and I knew they had filed bankruptcy, and I didn't know that they had turned in or evolved into some sort of a chemical company. So when I saw it, I laughed. When I saw that the government had, what is it, $478 billion they gave them. And then and I didn't know how to do this, but then I read an article that said that if you would monetize or if you would use that amount of capital as a loan to figure out what Kodak is actually worth within the industry that they're going to be playing in, it has the current price of $40, $30 has no relevance because they haven't done anything yet. It's almost the same as Nikola. They haven't built any trucks yet, and yet a lot of you go in. Now, who is a lot of you? I saw on CNBC this morning that the number one purchaser of Kodak is Robinhood. More trades have gone through Robinhood than anyone else. Well, what does that tell you? It's 99% amateur investors, retail investors. It's probably, most of them are under 35 years of age. Most of them are probably spending the $1,200 check or the $600 check that the government sent them. And they truly don't know what they're doing. It hurts. Anybody knows who's been in investing is if a company files bankruptcy, there is a list of who gets paid in what order. At the top of that list is the banks they borrowed money from. The next are their creditors. On the bottom of the list is stockholders. And if you file bankruptcy, stockholders never get paid anything. So even ahead of the stockholder is the bondholder. So when I see things like this, I see people making bad decisions. I see people on holiday in Las Vegas going into a casino, having never played blackjack, and sitting down on a blackjack table, standing around a roulette wheel, trying to figure out what that game's all about, and putting some money on the table. Or maybe betting on the guy who's winning, just doing what he's doing. And that's what you're doing when you're investing in Kodak or Nikola. You're following the herd, and you're assuming the herd knows what they're doing. Well, we've talked about that. The herd are the elks in Yellowstone Park in the winter, and the wolves come over the hill, and they all run in fear. I guess this would be the opposite. A beautiful female elk shows up, and they all run for her, not knowing what they're going to do when they get there, but just following the herd, and you don't need to be doing that. Again, please, I've been in this business. You are in, if you're an investor, you're buying ownership in companies that you think are going to succeed. Well, why do you think they're going to succeed? Because you've looked at their balance sheets, because you've watched interviews with their CEOs. I hope you watched the interviews yesterday of the CEOs of Apple, Google, Amazon, and Facebook, and saw what kind of people they are. Have they made some mistakes? Yeah, they've made some mistakes. Have they led us as a nation, as a world, through the technology development? Have they came out on top? So until they give you a reason why they won't come out on the top on the next 20 years, why wouldn't you invest in them? And why would you invest in Kodak or Carnival or Hertz? Because you want to get rich quick. You want to jump in and say, I can double my money in this. Look at this. It's gone from $2 to $60 in a matter of less than a week. Well, yeah, it did. And those people who were inside on it made the money all the way from $2. And when you bought in at 60, they bailed and what, 30 times their money as it fell to 30? I'm sorry, but you were just taken severe advantage of. And you need to know that the stock market is full of these sort of things. So what I try to do, and again, I bought into one. I did make 50% on my money, but I knew when to get out. I went and looked at their balance sheets. I knew they were a ringer. I got out. And that's Victor called me from Houston, and he got out when I got out, and he just called to say thanks. So put some money aside that you're willing to lose, because if you're going to buy, if you're going to be a gambler, you have to know that unless you are the smartest player at the table, you will lose. And I want to say that again. Unless you are the smartest player at the table, you're going to lose. So don't do it. Invest in companies that have growth potential. Where should you be looking? Well, as I've said, tech is good. They are going to lead us into all the advancements in the next 20 years. Now, will there be other companies that will appear as behemoths like them? Yeah, and it's going to be around the medical field. You've got to recognize that we have just gone through World War III, and we're still involved in it. We're still losing thousands of soldiers every day. This reminds me so much of back when we were fighting in Vietnam, and the news came on, and every night the first thing they said was, we just lost 1,000 soldiers in Vietnam today, but the Vietnamese lost 5,000. And somehow the mothers of the 1,000 boys and girls that got killed should take pride in that 5,000 more Vietnamese got killed. They're still human lives. And they're still human lives relative to the coronavirus. And we need to bring this to an end. But as bad as it is the amount of energy that is going to be applied to the situation so that it never happens again. I want you to think about that. As bad it is as it has been, we're getting close to where our government is putting in $5 trillion to stop it. When we get it stopped, I'll guarantee you there's going to be another $5 trillion spent to make sure it never happens again. And that's what you want to be looking for right now. Who's going to benefit from the change of attitude from we are a society of caring for the ill, caring for disease, to stopping, to identifying, bringing it to an end. As strong as I'm sitting here, I'm telling you, I'm going to have a smart bathroom. I'm going to have the ability to get my health checked every morning by the best doctors in the world. And those are going to be the doctors in the cloud that are going to compare my data to the data of yours and everyone else's in the world. And this time, when a pandemic shows up in Wuhan, China, or Paducah, Kentucky, we're going to know it's there before the people get sick, because we're going to be checking. We're going to be down there at the sewage plant checking all their poop, and we're going to identify there's a virus in Paducah, Kentucky. Shut it down. That is going to happen, and you need to know it. The same thing that happened after World War II. The world sat down and said, this can never happen again. And it hasn't. Well, the pandemic will never happen again. But there's going to be a lot of money and a lot of heads roll to make sure it never happens. That's where you want to invest. You do not want to invest in Carnival Cruise Lines or Boeing or Kodak or Nikola. Opportunity of a lifetime is in healthcare and data. And you know who owns the data. So don't be blinded by the bright, shiny objects that show up every day. And you want to say, I want some of that. We need to get in on that. No, you don't. Let the amateurs do that. Let the investors at Robinhood. And if you're a part of that group, find yourself another place to live. And I don't mean another channel. I mean, get yourself a real broker who doesn't, this nonsense of come to us and we'll give you 4 stocks. What's that all about? You don't get something for nothing. If you believe that, you're more naive than I thought. You don't get something for nothing. They're putting that bait out there to get you there. I haven't looked into it, and I won't look into it, because you don't get something for nothing, other than my advice. If you'd like to be a part of this tribe, sign up over here at bestofusadvisors.com. I'll send you my morning letter. Also, in the description, you're going to see our contacts for our Facebook page, our Twitter account, our Instagram, and the Discord, where hundreds of you exchange ideas on a daily basis. That's all in the description. And become a part of this tribe. We're growing to 1 million. We'll be there about this time next year. And we're going to put all 1 million of our minds and our eyes and our ears to the ground, and our warnings. Don't buy that, so that you become a better investor, not only in stocks and bonds, but also in real estate, in other opportunities that are going to be presenting themselves. So become a tribe member and enjoy the future with us.